PTF here, reminding folks that our In the Money Plus subscriptions are going up in cost on Monday. When we invented In the Money Plus, didn't realize how much content we were going to be providing. Feel like the $10 a month, that was maybe a little aggressively in favor of the consumer. But here's the great news. You can lock in that introductory price if you do it this weekend, and you'll have it for as long as you stay a Plus subscriber. $100 for the year, $10 a month, and that gets you little digests of all the picks from every free show that we do. It also gets you extra content, actionable stats info from Matt Vagvolgi, extra great written content from the In the Money team, and typically it's about an extra podcast a week, often covering a carryover or a sequence that we have some particular angle on or reason to promote that's not from one of our sponsored tracks. So I believe it's still, even with the price increase, the best deal in racing content. But why not lock in the introductory price? You can do so through this weekend. For more information, go to inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. That's inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. Hello and welcome to the In the Money Players Podcast. This is our show being recorded on Friday, July 9th for the races of Saturday, July 10th. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatel. I'm very far from the Brooklyn Bunker. I'm out in a hotel room in Carlsbad, California, but I'd always planned on coming back and doing my part on the show this week. Very excited about the weekend Belmont card. We're going to kick things off with me talking with Scottie McKeever from Equine Edge about that. Want to remind folks here and now about Equine Edge and the fact that we have this great promo code for In the Money listeners and viewers where you can get a month free of this innovative new AI-fueled handicapping software. And all you got to do is go to equineedge.com/free money, or you can put in the promo code free money at checkout there on Equine Edge. Please do it. Check it out. It'll save you a lot of time. Fantastic tool to have in the toolbox when it comes to this stuff. Then after I speak with Scotty, I'm going to get out of here because the great Michelle Yu has agreed to come in and do our segments this week about Lone Star Park, where we're going to have Benny Southstreet, and also Woodbine, where Drew Coatney will be joining us. So stick around. It's going to be a fantastic show, and we'll get to more of it right after this. As mentioned up top, today's first guest is Scottie McKeever of Equine Edge, and we'd like you to know we have this special promotion. I mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. This is for In the Money Media listeners and viewers only. You can get this great service free for an entire month. Simply use the promo code free money on the sign-up page. You see it there on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, or you can go directly to equineedge.com/free money. That's EQUINEDGE.com/free money. The trick there is it's not, you don't double up the E's in the middle of Equine Edge. It's just Equine Edge with the one E in the middle, .com/free money. With Saratoga and Del Mar coming up, now is the perfect time to sign up for your free account and get very familiar with this platform all month long. Scotty's going to be joining us here on the late week flagship shows, talking about races from across the country using the Equine Edge platform and answering your questions as well. If you want to hit us up with those questions, you can go through the contact page in themoneypodcast.com. You can hit me on Twitter at LoomsBoldly. And remember, to learn more, check out equineedge.com/free money. First up on the show, as promised, we have Scottie McKeever. Scotty, how are things?
Fantastic. How are you, Peter?
Life is very good, my man. Really excited to be chatting with you about this Pick Six sequence. We have some weather questions once again this week. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of rain in New York. That's something you're going to get to avoid for the most part anyway. When you come out, we're sort of swapping coasts. I'm heading west to east. You're coming from east to west. You're going to be talking about Equine Edge throughout the Del Mar meet with hopefully very little rain throughout the meet. You'll be on the simulcast feed daily with that. How's that going to work?
So I'm going to be doing a show Thursday. Well, the first 2 weeks are going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? And then it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over at Del Mar. So I'll be doing a show, Equine Edge Live, and you can follow us on our YouTube channel and at Equine Edge. And yeah, I'm going to be doing that. And I'll be doing I have to handicap anyways because I'm doing the inner feed with John Lees over at Del Mar. So I figured I might as well do a show just handicapping the card over at Del Mar. So you can follow me at Scotty Pick 6 as well, and at Equine Edge on Twitter, and you'll get notifications when we're doing a show. So, but that will be 4 days a week, most likely. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I may have to crash, so not the simulcast feed, but the YouTube channel. We got to do some stuff on there at some point. It's always fun when we can, trade hosting and guesting responsibilities.
Well, for sure, absolutely. The hosting is a lot tougher. We'll do the handicapping all day long. And well, listen, and you're going to be over at Saratoga, so I'm going to want to know what you like at Saratoga. I'm going to be covering all the races at Del Mar every day of the meet, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll have to swap notes.
I like the sound of that, my friend. Let's start off today's handicapping piece of the puzzle by talking about race number 6 at Belmont Park on Saturday. We've got 3 and up New York bred allowance types scheduled for 7 furlongs on the turf. Hopefully, we're going to stay here. We'll see what happens with the weather over the next 24 hours or so. But how are you looking at this one from a day out?
And by the way, we'd be remiss if we didn't say within this pick 6 sequence is the Belmont Oaks Invitational, as well as the $1 million Belmont Derby Invitational, right? So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I actually have a couple of horses I like, but starting off here in this race number 6 at Belmont, 7 furlongs on the turf. Hopefully it stays on the turf. I think on a big day like this, Peter, I'm hoping anyways they're going to keep it on the turf, but I'm going to use the 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. I just think it's a wide open race, and I think I could have covered more horses, to be honest with you.
You've got my spread in there. I put Dan Fusi on top. I thought had the trip angle of moving a little bit early into a fast pace off the bench the last day. Was looking for Dan Fusi to get a great stalk and pounce type trip this time around. Dr. Blute would be my top pick if it does get washed off, but also extremely usable on turf. That's the number 5 dropping class. I love the Lasix going back on there for Dr. Blute. And then Scocciatore, who you mentioned first, I think you were just going numerically as opposed to a top pick, but the 3, I felt like Scocciatore might just have the speed to lead them, has acted well on both surfaces. I want in the mix somewhere. But you're right, I don't hate the idea of having the others you mentioned as backups, and it's the kind of spot where I think you can probably feel free to get creative if you can get narrow in some other spots. You talked about the featured races on the day. You gotta figure, if nothing else, the Belmont Oaks and Belmont Derby are going to be staying on the turf. The Belmont Oaks is the first one to come up. That's race number 7, scheduled at 4:06. We've got 1.25 miles for these 3-year-old fillies on the Belmont sod. And there's going to be a big favorite in here. I'm very curious to see from your perspective, Scotty, what you make of a filly like Santa Barbara in this spot. Are you comfortable going to war with her? I certainly get that her figures and form, in theory at least, tower above the rest. But I'm tempted to get a little bit creative and throw in a couple others here. But I'll let you tackle this one first. All
right, well, Santa Barbara is going to be my single. 86 GSR, which stands for Genetic Strength Rating on Equine Edge. And it's just this horse got 1 second-place finish. Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore coming in. The horse has had no layoffs. This horse barely lost a grade 1 race. And you've got a lot of horses here like Cone Lima. This is a grade 3 horse. You can see a grade 3, grade 1, big difference. So I'm going to take a lightly raced horse, and like Santa Barbara, who's competed in grade 1s after only its 4th race, actually 2nd race. So this horse broke its maiden first time out. She did, 3-year-old filly, and by Camelot. And this horse came over and ran only a length and a half back in its first start in a grade 1 race. That was a 2nd lifetime start. And this horse just looks really strong to me. And facing a bunch of horses that look like non-graded stakes horses or grade 3 horses, I think Santa Barbara is the horse to beat. It has a 42% win chance, plus an 86 GSR. So 1 to 100, a 100 being best. That's a really big number. I'm going to go with Santa Barbara.
I totally get it. Now, the only reason I think I got cheeky here was looking at some early prices in the UK where Santa Barbara was listed at odds of 1 to 2. That may well be reflective of her chance or close to it. But I did want to at least mention as one to use with her, number 2, Sirona in this spot. Just a few things to recommend her. I like the fact that she races forwardly. I figure if Santa Barbara's going to get beat, it's not going to be from one closing better than her. It might be from one in front of her. I feel like Sirona will be in front of her. I like the fact that Sirona has won left-handed, and she too has Group 1 form. Not not as towering as the Santa Barbara Group 1 form. But I mean, here's the real thing. At least if you're looking at fixed odds betting on this race, currently in the UK, 14-1 on Sirona. I feel like there's enough there to take that chance. But believe me, in my picks will be aligned in that I'll have plenty of Santa Barbara, and I'll have a lot more Santa Barbara on my tickets than Sirona. But if I were listing picks just, you know, in order, I'd actually go ahead and take the value shot, putting Sirona above Santa Barbara here. 2-5 for me in the Belmont Oaks. And with that, we'll move on to the grade 3 victory ride. 3-year-old fillies once again, this time going 6.5 on the dirt. And I really liked number 3, Miss Brazil, in this spot. Had the excuse of breaking through the gate last time and then being off a little bit poorly. I feel like she ran very well, all things considered, and can reverse form with the others from the Jersey Girl and go on to victory in the victory ride. I will back up with the 7, Australasia, closed very well to win in that same Jersey Girl race without a particularly great setup. You don't get to say this very often, but I feel like this is an undefeated overachiever who's now looking to make it a perfect 7 for 7. I want some 7s on my tickets. And I'll also use a little bit of number 5, Super Sensational. Plenty of finish, been unlucky in several races, including the last day when I felt like she had to idle at a key stage. I think Super Sensational can get involved at a price as well. But Scotty, how do you see it?
Super Sensational is my top pick. 8-1 in the morning line. And I think this racing in grade 2 has been real competitive. And I think this horse is going to do very well. Has a really nice GSR of 71. I thought that was great. I think this horse, the horse to beat. I think the 7 horse that you're talking about, Australasia, I mean, this horse ran good, undefeated, 6-6, right? For sure. And this horse has a nose for the wire for sure. Jockey trainer combination, interestingly enough, with Rosario and Brad Cox, 43% with 28 samples. And with Red Ghost, the 6 horse, Wesley Ward, John Velasquez, Peter, they're 41% and 51 samples in a year. I mean, they're hitting at 41% with Red Ghost. So I think Red Ghost, lightly raced, last couple of races was really good. Barely won a grade 3. And but I think the 5 horse, Super Sensational. But I'm covering 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I like it. 1, 3, 4. Let me just make sure I get this notated correctly for our Plus subscribers. I love how easily you have those jockey and trainer stats available. That's a feature of Equine Edge. Describe for people how easy that is to find.
So basically we have tabs on the front page, which we call our race view. And within those tabs, you'll see a jockey trainer combination, and it will tell you the jockey win percentage, the trainer win percentages as individuals. It'll also show you the jockey trainer combination and how many samples there are in 365 days, so 1 year. But also what's really great is it'll tell you about, right there immediately, you'll see a little saddle cloth, little miniature saddle cloth that'll show which horse a jockey got off of from its last race. So you can see which horse the jockey is choosing over another.
I love that. And it can really, especially when a rider has presumably had 3 or 4 options in a race, to be able to have that as well as just notable connections leaping off the page. It's super useful. Next week, we'll be back in the bunker. And I promise you, we'll do some screenshots for the YouTube crowd so you can see how cool this looks. It doesn't look like your typical handicapping software. I'd describe the general visuals of Equine Edge looking a bit more like a video game. I assume that was on purpose, Scotty.
It was, we really wanted something that where it was going to be user-friendly, right? So the UX was the most important thing to us. Interaction, we wanted people to be able to interact with it, but we also wanted them to get the main information right there at their fingertips on one screen. And we were able to do that. And I think, from the GSR tab, which stands for Genetic Strength Rating, you see the numbers right there real easy, but you also see the SOR, which stands for Strength of Race. And that tells you how tough the fields the horse has been facing. So, and then the jockey trainer combination, and the changes tab, so you can see any changes from last race to the next or anything different. And then, of course, the lifetime stats. So, I mean, it's all right there. Win percentages, Scotty picks, Scotty long shot. I mean, you see it all. We have our own EE morning line, which and which is more accurate than most of all tracks. So that's kind of almost like a fair value, if you will. I don't know if you use the EE morning line, Peter, but for me,
I do.
Yeah, I do too. There was a horse the other day, I think I was telling you last week on last week's show, that was 20-1 in the morning line, 9-2 on the EE morning line. Horse went off at 20-1. I put $200 on it and it won easily.
There's a lot of fun different little algorithms that can point you in a direction, but and a lot of time saving things. But I think my favorite aspect of it for the way that I look at the world is you mentioned about both the strength of race, which is a de facto class and ability ranking, as well as that GSR, the genetic strength rating, obviously looking more at the breeding side. I feel like those are not really as fully priced into the betting markets as the more traditional, the way that I say traditional, but it's not so much that they're traditional. They've just become so dominant. The pace ratings and speed ratings make the market. So when you have a tool that's helping you look at class and breeding in a world where the prices are dictated by pace and speed, that's going to help you find horses that are good prices. And that's definitely the way that I've been using Equine Edge and what I plan on continuing to do all summer long.
Well, with the GSR, as an example, the genetic strength rating, you can use that for horses doing something for the first time or first-time starters, when most people will tell you they have the hardest time with maiden races. They don't know what to do with these first-time starters. Well, you have that tool now. And it's an amazing tool. It goes back generations of horses, and it's extremely accurate. But what I love about it, it's so simple because it's just a number from 1 to 100. And you're not comparing the horse against itself. Well, you can, but you're comparing the number against other horses in the same race. So it's just fantastic.
Let's move on to race number 9. The back half of this pick 6 kicks off with the Belmont Derby, going 1.25 miles on the inner turf. And Scotty, we're going to keep this one with you. What's going to be your approach?
I'm singling De Jure. I love the 5. This horse only has 5 lifetime races, won 3 for 3 now, and this horse is doing fantastic on the turf. Now, Belmont put this horse on the dirt. The horse had a 62 GSR. Put the horse on the turf, and the numbers jumped from 78, 78, and 77 last time, and the horses rattled off 3 straight races. So this horse has wanted turf all along. Temple City, bottom side dam as well is turf. This horse loves turf. Flavian Pratt, Belmont. I think De Jure is gonna be very, very tough. I really do.
I can see it. I mean, this horse upset the apple cart on Derby Day in that American, and another forward move would certainly put in the mix. I can't get past 2 other runners in this race, though, and the one I'm going to put on top is Hard Love, the number 6. This one, who I feel has just continued to improve for Jonathan Thomas. I think based on this pedigree, should continue to get better as the year goes along. I know Jonathan Thomas has thought of this horse for this race for a very long time. I'm all about Hard Love in the Belmont Derby, but I will not be losing to the other Aidan O'Brien, a big name to come over and run on this card. We talked about the merits of the stablemate in the Oaks, but Bolshoi Ballet, just by dint of going off the favorite in the Epsom Derby. And if you, by the way, Scotty, I don't know if you've had this experience with the English. If you call the race the Epsom Derby, they get mad at you. They say you don't need to say Epsom. It's just the Derby. Everything else is an imitation of this. That's how big of a place the Epsom Derby has or the Derby, I should say, has in the English racing consciousness. For a horse to be bet to even money there and end up making its way over here, the only negative to me is how much I respect the home team, especially Hard Love, and you make a good case for De Jure as well. But I will not be getting beaten by Bolshoi Ballet in this spot. Beyond, is it as simple as De Jure for you, or will you have some backups here?
Well, so Bolshoi Ballet is the top pick. It's the top Scotty pick, and Hard Love is the second top pick. But I think that in the Epsom, I think that the 2 horse was overbet. I really do, based on a grade 3 win. Yes, it was impressive by 6 lengths, but and this horse is going to be the favorite. There's no question. Hard Love will probably be your second favorite, and I don't know what the upside of Hard Love is, but I was just so impressed with De Jure, and I think De Jure is the real deal, lightly raced, and so. But I think probably you could get by in this race. The Scotty Longshot, and also a price play. Interestingly, the Tokyo Gold, the 7 horse. This horse is interesting for sure. Won a grade 2 in its 7th start and did it impressively. But I don't know, just something about De Jure that I'm really liking here, Peter. And so I'm going to stick with De Jure. But the 2 horses you picked are probably the 2 horses to beat on paper.
That's another fun thing you bring up when you talk about the different algorithms that are part of Equine Edge, one of which is that there's one algorithm based on your own methodology called the Scottie picks. Then there's also, I'm guessing from it's tweaked a little bit more towards the way you'd approach a contest, the Scottie long shot. But I like the idea that there's a bunch of different ways of looking at the world here. It's not meant to just be a black box. Here are your picks. Equine Edge leaves you the ability to still try to solve the puzzle on your own and get creative, which I think is a good example of how you're approaching this year's Belmont Derby.
Well, 100%, and it was really important to us, me and our entire team, that this was subjective handicapping. So when you have the GSR or the SOR, or you have the win percentages, you've got Scotty's picks, Scotty's long shot picks, you've got the EE morning line. If you start seeing one horse is like lining up where all the metrics are kind of leaning towards this horse, you have yourself a single most likely, right? In the case of the 7-horse Tokyo Gold, the GSR is the highest, 84. Next closest is the 3 Safe Conduct at 76. So that's an 8-point difference right there. Plus it's Scotty's long shot. Plus we have 10 price play algorithms, all long shot algorithms that look at different things. And it's a price play as well, Tokyo Gold. So there's 3 metrics right there that are lining up for Tokyo Gold: Scotty long shot, GSR, and price play. So maybe Tokyo Gold is a long shot, is a play in here as well.
I'm actually with you. Tokyo Gold, I think, needs to improve, but should be a price, and one that I think soft turf, which I would imagine we're going to get, would not be any kind of problem for at all. So I'm totally with the idea of keeping the 7 in the mix in the Belmont Derby. 2 more races to go. The next one we're going to talk about being race number 10, scheduled for 7 on the turf. We've got 3 and up maidens this time around. I like the number 8 Migrate, who I felt like ran pretty well on debut in a race where the form is working out well. Bill Mott trainees typically improve with a start. I like the looks of the last work. I don't have a clocker report, but just looking at the work tab. And Migrate, also critically, I feel like will go well on either surface. If this race comes off and they opt not to run Migrate, I will scratch into number 5, Aban, main track only, who I think ran very well last time wide on a day when the rail was pretty good. Another race where the form is looking strong. It was pretty much the 8 and 5 for me in race number 10. Scotty, how do you see it?
Well, I think Ranger Fox, the 3-horse, which is also the top Scotty pick, top GSR. I think the horse only has 3 races. I really do think this horse is going to improve. Did have an easy lead last time out, but they were going pretty fast. The horse was hard to load, so that's going to take it out of a horse. 3rd race off the layoff. I do think you're going to see Ranger Fox run a good race, but I'm using 5 horses in here: 3, 5, 8, 9, and 11. I think Migrate, I agree. This horse broke last. We had only lost by 3.5 lengths. And, you know, Bill Mott's horses, they improved second time out. The horse was off slow, altered course. I think Migrate could be awfully tough as well. 24% to win. Ranger Fox, the 3, is 38% on our numbers. And, yeah, I think that Ranger Fox could run a better race tomorrow.
I do see that case for sure, and the pace scenario could prove to be more favorable. I'm going to go ahead and copy you there and make sure I list Ranger Fox as a B as well. Let's move on to our nightcap, the anchor leg of this pick 6, scheduled for the turf once again, 1 mile and a 16th on the inner for quarter claimers 3 and up. Scotty, how are we going to get paid in this Belmont Derby Day pick 6?
Well, I kind of like the 5 horse, the Scotty Longshot, rejected again. Believe it or not, I haven't seen this too often. It's 35% win percentage and a Scotty Longshot. And I just found that really interesting that I have not seen that before. 2 third place finishes in 3 tries. I think this horse might run a good race. I think this horse can sit back a little bit or go to the lead. In a wide open race in which I'm using the 2, 3, 5, and 6, I think maybe the 5 rejected again would be a horse to look at. The 11 horse I did not use, and I'll tell you why. No speed. The 11 hole, if you've got the money, I would use the 11. It's the top Scotty pick. Rosario probably be finishing, but I think this horse is going to get a wide trip. The 12 horse is another one, Boru. This horse, somewhat tactical, but when that 12 hole, when you look at that starting point and where they start from, it's not a good place to be wide here at Belmont Park.
Not easy, that's for sure. And even before I looked at the Equine Edge algorithm, I was interested in Rejected. Again, should be in a prominent position throughout, eligible to improve, back in for the tag. And I did notice that. It reminded me of what you were saying before about the idea of the different algorithms on Equine Edge lining up. And then when that, the other thing I'll say is whenever I see one of those algos agree with what I'm coming up with my traditional handicapping, I'm giving an extra little mark. And those are horses that not only am I likely to, not only am I going to use, but I'm also likely to press. And that's another thing that I feel like the software can give you is the confidence to take some stands and a way to help you allocate your money throughout the day. Maybe you have certain races where you have a token amount you're going to wager because you're betting for fun and you want to have a good day. But when you have that confidence to really push, I feel like the software is very helpful for that.
Here's another horse to look at in that race, Soglio, the 3, Peter, because look, let's just go back. Sometimes when I handicap and I'm looking at our handy view, which is our past performances, I'll start like 5 races back so I could just get the story of the horse. So let's do that here. So basically last year in February, this horse won the race for this same level, then goes to a restricted 35,000, wins that race, then barely loses against a really tough field going 11 furlongs. Then faces an even tougher field going 12 furlongs and loses by 4 lengths. Maybe didn't like that distance, I don't know. And then in May, comes back and breaks last at 5-2 and loses by 4 lengths. Stays at the same level for Noda. I think the 3-horse Soglio is going to be probably the horse to beat in the race. I would say that. So I would not leave the 3 Soglio off your ticket for sure.
If you were grading your picks in this race, it sounds to me like you'd have the 5 and the 3 more as your A's, and then the 2 and the 6 would be more backups for you. Does that sound about right? And then if you have the money on like a C type line, maybe that's where you'd be looking to include the 11.
If I was forced to bet one horse in this race, it would be the 3 Soglio for sure. And then Rejected is interesting because I've not seen a Scotty Longshot with that kind of win percentage. And it's interesting to me. And then Noble Thought, the 11, of course, might even go off as your favorite. I'm going to try to if you're going to get paid, you have to leave out horses like this. That's what you have to do. And so I'm trying to visualize that trip, and I can't see the 11 getting a good trip with no speed. And so I'm going to play against a horse like that. And then I'm able to, what I did was the system used it, of course. I eliminated it. I regenerated the ticket based on my budget, and I was able it added the 6 horse is what it did. So maybe I end up winning and getting counter offer the 6 to win, who's 9-2 on the morning line because I eliminated the 11 horse. So if I make the right move, then it enhances my chances of winning.
Just to pause on that concept, you talked about the ticket generation. That's another very cool thing about the Equine Edge software, that ability for you to work essentially with the computer to help generate specific bets. You tell it the amount that you want to bet, pools you want to be involved in, and the computer does some of the lifting for you. Another cool aspect. Again, we're going to be having Scotty on the whole month, so we'll be back again next week talking about Del Mar. I suppose it only makes sense. So and I promise we'll get some visuals involved on the YouTube side. Scotty, we've got the next crew in here getting ready to slide in. So I'll let you go. We look forward to seeing you on the Del Mar simulcast feed and over on your YouTube channel. What for folks looking to find the YouTube channel? Is it as simple as go to YouTube and type in Equine Edge?
Equine Edge Live, and it'll pull up, and you'll see the shows, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click on the bell, and you'll get all the notifications when we're doing shows. But I'll be doing 3 to 4 shows a week over at Del Mar, so I'll be fully versed on every horse at Del Mar, the entire meet. So it'll be something to watch, and we'll have to share notes. And I appreciate you having me on.
Cheers, my friend.
All right, same to you. Bye.
Monmouth Park's premier race is the TVG.com Haskell Stakes on Saturday, July 17th, with a prospective field expected to include Derby runner-up Mandaloon, Preakness runner-up Midnight Bourbon, and Belmont runner-up Hot Rod Charlie. The Haskell is yet again poised to be the summer's biggest race. Haskell Day will boast a betting menu fitting of the day with a $400,000 guaranteed pick 4 ending in the Haskell, a $100,000 guaranteed pick 5 on the last 5 races, and a $200,000 estimated pool in the win early pick 5 on races 1 through 5. For more information on ticketing, horses to watch, and much, much more, go to monmouthpark.com/Haskell. That URL once again, monmouthpark.com/Haskell.
All right, here on the In the Money Players podcast, I am not PTF, nor am I JK, thank goodness, although I don't know if my fashion sense is better or not. I know one person who definitely doesn't have as good fashion sense as JK, sad to say, and that is my good buddy, this way, Ryan Flanders. You might know him on Twitter. All right, wait, okay, this way. Go ahead, do it. Boom!
Oh, wait, that was pitiful, whatever.
It's, you know what? This is like, it's very opposite. This is very weird. I don't do a lot of internet stuff, so I don't know. We should have glasses to cheers with, really.
No doubt about it. We'll be doing that soon. Hopefully you get down here to Del Mar and we have a couple cocktails.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Champagne all day, my friend. So we are on here not just to jibber jabber about our summer plans, although they do involve cocktails and the pool, which is exactly what Pete's doing right now, sitting by the pool having cocktails. But we're going to talk about the late pick 5 over at Lone Star. It is Texas Bred Day, so it's a really exciting day. And Southstreet, you love Lone Star, right?
It's my favorite place on earth. I love getting on planes, flying halfway across the country and getting, just hemmed in by a deluge of rain.
It doesn't rain in Texas all that often, I feel like. I spent a whole entire season there, and it was like 118 degrees every day. So we obviously had very different experiences.
Yeah, I'm like Charlie Brown when it comes to weather. If you're a good handicapper with mud, just pay me to come to the track and it'll rain. Every contest I go to, if I go to Keeneland, it rains. If I go to Lone Star, it rains. If I go to, Naira, it rains. So I'm pretty much a lock.
Please don't come to Del Mar.
Okay.
Our stalls are like open air stalls. If we have rain, we're in trouble. All right, let's jump in to the Lone Star Park card. And of course I tabbed you for this because you've been there recently. How did you do in the contest? Any good?
What's funny is I got there and I was thinking there would be a lot of people in the contest. The only reason why I went there was to try and earn points for the tour.
Right.
And there weren't even enough people for it to make a difference. So it was kind of a drag in that respect. Didn't do well. I came close a couple times, but I think everybody does in these things. So didn't work out. Had a good time. Was probably 0.08 the whole time, which was fun.
But now you know the setting and you know the people. So you're going to guide us through this late pick 5, I hope. I have to say, on a personal level, I do love Lone Star Park as a facility and as a venue. It is one of the coolest tracks to get to go to, and I'm sorry that it rained on you.
Yeah, no big deal. Super people. I had a great time. Met a lot of people that I've kind of been conversing with a little bit on Twitter, so that was good. I had a good time. Just didn't win. No big deal. I feel
like I haven't seen you on Twitter all that much lately.
Really? I try and post something every day like an idiot, but
really?
Yeah. Maybe you have me muted like JK.
Did JK mute you? That's hilarious. I definitely don't.
I am, but that's okay. I'm kind of loud and obnoxious.
I'm just gonna go check you. I'm gonna go check now. I'm actually gonna go the extra mile and search for you and see what you have to say every day.
Do it.
And then if it's boring, I'm gonna thumbs down you.
Well, don't do that. You have to be nice. I like all your stuff. You should like all mine. But
I'm honest. If I don't like it, I'm just going to boo you.
That's true. You're unfiltered. I'm kind of the same way. Every once in a while, I'll post a funny video on there. Like the most recent one I did, Elizabeth, my daughter, we had a Mento challenge.
Where you put it in the Coke bottle?
Yeah, we had this little lever and we screwed it onto the 2-liter bottle, dropped in 6 of them. We were standing next to the pool and she was going to shoot it out over the golf course and she shot me with it and I fell in the pool. So
I bet that hurt. That's no joke.
What's that?
That's no joke. Those things hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty powerful. It was pretty powerful. It's a cool little thing. I mean, it's super fun time for little people, and we had all kinds of different spouts that you can get on there, and cool. Good time. We'll have to do that when you come over with your little one.
Well, don't show Spencer that because he will try and kill you. I think he's sociopathic. All he wants to do is kill his dinosaurs, and he eats Barbies, and
that's why you can't. Little boys, there's nothing you can do, right? So if you hey, no guns, they don't care. They'll just turn their hand into a gun,
right?
That's how little boys are. They want to kill things.
I let him. He has his own little machine gun. It goes. He loves to kill Barbies, and then he thinks it's so fun. And then he wraps them up and takes them to the doctor. So at least he's got a sweet spot.
Yeah, he's a sweet kid.
All right, jumping into this late pick 5, it does kick off in race number 7 with the Valor Farm, a 6-furlong race for fillies and mares. You singled here, right?
I did.
You're crazy. I think you kick off the day with a single.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay.
I can't find my way around her. I'm not going to use 2 because that's just poor money management. You get 2 and you get through the leg with the favorite. It's bad equity. So I couldn't find my way around. She's our fastest. She's 6 to 5 in the morning line. What's weird about, I don't know if this is, and you're the walking condition book. You know this better than anybody. I don't understand why Bernie is entered in 2 consecutive races.
Well, because they wanted to see which one she fits in better.
Right, but how are you allowed to do that? So we don't.
Because it's a stakes race, so you can you can enter those, and then you can make your decision.
I didn't realize that. So Bernie will probably run in the grass race anyway. Would be my guess.
I should have probably texted Deodoro and asked him that first, huh?
Wow, yeah, that would have been nice. I don't think it's going to matter. I think she's our fastest. Is going to work out a perfect trip. If Bernie's in here, she'll probably make the lead. She's our fastest. Is just better. I mean, she's a real pro. So I've got nothing bad to say about her. And I wasn't going to go any deeper than 1 in here. Just makes no sense from an equity standpoint.
I did think about also using I'm a Discreet Lady, the 2 for Carl Broberg, because she has won a stake going 6 furlongs before, but I know she's been beaten by She's Our Fastest also, so I was kind of on the fence about using her getting back to dirt.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't, I went back to that March 20th race, and my software has that race very, very slow early.
Okay.
And I'm a Discreet Lady was near the pace that time, so I actually thought that the 6 was better coming out of that race anyway, even though that she was defeated. So I don't think it matters. She's not going to be 6 to 5. She's going to be 1 to 2, and she'll probably win. But from a pick 5 standpoint, you can't. When you start going 2 and 3 deep, and you end up with 1 to 2, it's a losing bet. It's just a bad bet.
I'm so glad that you're here to money manage. Thank you. I can help you out grocery shopping, but I hate singling. It gives me anxiety.
Well, go hang out with your boy Andy Serling. He'll tell you singles are a bad place.
Oh, there we go. I like that. I'm going to make a shirt that says that. Singles are bad plays.
Well, he said it's like the worst possible thing you can do. I mean, I get where he's coming from. You want to survive, but if you're all about surviving as a horse player, you will get destroyed. You'll spend more money. You may hit a few more tickets, but you're gonna get buried. The only chance you have is to have an opinion and play your opinion as skinny as you can, and bet it more times. That's the only chance that you have, in my opinion. Yeah, it was a funny tweet. Go back to Twitter and look at it. I think it kind of blew up a little bit on Twitter. I think people were making fun of him a little bit.
You can't make fun of Andy. All right, flip the page. The late pick 4, the all stakes late pick 4 starts in race number 8. And so in case you're out in the first leg because the favorite doesn't win, you can always fast forward into this race. The Fiesta Mile, obviously going to be 1 mile on the turf course. This is fillies and mares. Where'd you go in here? I think you singled again.
I did. I singled again. I'm assuming Bernie's going to get in here. I watched that race on tape. It doesn't look like much early, but it is a faster race early. These 2 were hooked. Bernie and Discreet Smile were hooked pretty good in this race. Everyone else had a clear shot. The one that kind of didn't was.
Wait, I have a question. Pause.
Yeah.
How do you know her name is Bernie?
Because I listened to the race call.
Okay.
That's what the race caller
said. It looks so much fancier, like Bjorn.
Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of just Burn, but
right.
Yeah, no, okay, I'm just going by the racetrack. He called it Bernie, so I think it's Bernie.
Okay.
But yeah, they were hooked. That race was a back down. They kind of backed up a little bit, and there's so many common opponents in this race. Nobody came close to her. She galloped out well in front, even though that running line for Zerelda looks like she was closing. And she was versus the other. She really wasn't getting to the winner. So that race looked like a free square to me also. So I'm just going to start off going single, and hopefully we can find some prices later.
So with Zerelda making a little bit of run, you're not concerned with the extra half a furlong there making a difference for her?
I'm not. That race was a backup. I have a term I use. It's called accordion flow. It's kind of like when the pace is really fast, and then they come together on the backstretch, and then they stretch out again. That's kind of what happened in this race. And it does tend to favor rail runners and speed horses. And that was what Bernie, that was the trip that she got. But Zerelda did find a way through. And for the last, I'd say, not quite a furlong, she had a clear shot. But even when she got out into the clear, she wasn't gaining. So she looks like that late running sprinter that that kind of flattened out a little bit on paper. And that's kind of the way that race shaped up.
All right. Call me a little bit crazy that I thought that the 3 Set the Pace was interesting, bringing in back-to-back mile races, but she'll be trying grass for the first time. I don't mind the pedigree for grass, although it's not my favorite. Brett Calhoun, very high percentage trainer everywhere he goes. I just thought she was really intriguing.
I wouldn't talk you off that one. I looked at her a long time, actually. 3 years old. It's still a little bit early. The pedigree, I looked at the pedigree. It didn't look bad to me at all, actually. I can't remember who the grand dam was, but I think she was.
I think Grasshopper's out of Hula Skirt, right?
I can't recall.
That was like a whatchamacallit horse.
Yeah, I can't recall, but it didn't look bad to me. But then when I looked at my software kind of agreed with Tomlinson's, and that
grass skirt, not Hula Skirt. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk. I have 20-1 shot. That one looked interesting to me. From a pace perspective, I kind of felt like Bernie was going to have the advantage anyway. They could hook up and kill each other. That's a possibility. But in a Discreet Smile, I think is going to have to play a different tactic. I think she's going to try and stalk outside rather than go head-to-head.
I think they just let a 21-1 shot go.
Yeah, I don't know. Bernie's pretty fast.
Yeah, that's true.
Bernie's pretty fast. Those 2 routes for Set the Pace were kind of slow early, so
super slow.
We'll see how it plays out.
But she was also out there by herself. So then what do? You don't run yourself into the ground if there's no one challenging you, right?
No, she did everything. She did everything correctly. I've got nothing bad to say about a 20-1 shot that seems to be firing. She seems sharp, so I wouldn't talk you off Set the Pace.
All right. Next race, the 9th. That's going to be the Texas Thoroughbred Futurity, $100,000. Futurity obviously means 2-year-olds. Just in case you didn't know, this particular Futurity is for fillies. 5.5 furlongs here. I felt like this was a spread event, but I don't know. Maybe you came up with a single.
No, I got no single. I used 2, 3, 4, 7. I watched all the tapes in this one. The 2 is very interesting to me, although that race did kind of back up a little bit. I love to watch the jockeys when they ride first time out for these puppy races to see what their intent is. And this guy sat very, very quietly. It did not look like the goal to me. She ran on okay through the stretch. He did ride her through the lane a little bit. She galloped out just fine. She's interesting to me just based on that alone. And I know that she can pass. So I used the 2. I had nothing bad to say about the 3. If you notice, they ran on the same day. The 2 is coming out of a race that went much faster early, and they almost finished with equal time. So to me, that it's a little bit. Normally, I would play against a horse like the 2, but because of what Hamilton was doing out of the gate, I feel like she's got a shot. But clearly, the race that the 3 is coming out of is better. They ran so much faster late, and they almost caught up to the finishing time of the 2's race. So I am going to use the 3 as well. The 4 is interesting.
Yep.
The 4 on tape, it says checked after the start. She didn't check. She hopped outwards at the start. She was a little bit slow from the gate, and then she just hated the kickback. She threw her head up in the air. She totally disdained the dirt in her face, and she had no chance based off of that race. If she can break, she might be one that's going to show speed, and that doesn't show on paper. She gets blinkers. She was bet squarely. She was 9-2 morning line, and she gets a live rider. So I've got nothing bad to say about the 4, and she's 10-1. And then, the pedigree on the 7, I love those gate works. She got a ton of gate works moving into this race.
$240,000 purchase here, by the way.
Man, I wish I had 240.
That's just crazy. We don't generally see that, I feel like, in the Texas bred sales.
And that was Virginia bred, right?
Yeah, but she's in like the Texas Thoroughbred.
Oh, yeah, because it's restricted. Yep. So I've got nothing bad to say about that one. Mommy was a 3-time stakes winner, all sprinting, won consecutive stakes races. Clearly, they think she's live. They paid a pretty penny for her, so I threw her in as well. But my top 2 picks are actually the 2 and the 4.
I thought the 5 was an interesting price horse as well, coming out of a 2nd place finish behind Red Hot Moon, who we both like. I felt like this was a horse that kind of tried to press the pace and faded, and I really like the angle of like a speed and fade from a first-time starter. I feel like they are able to develop a lot from that in their next start. So I was just looking off as like a leaping point for this horse, and the price was right. If you like Red Hot Moon, I feel like, 15 to 1, this horse was worthy of a glance.
And trainer stats, pretty good. 3 out of 9 second time out. So if she's not firing first time out, she has every opportunity to move up here. So, and 15 to 1, right? Who does 15 to 1?
Spread City. Instead of leaning down, I should bring my mic up here. Spread City. The engineer hates when I bring my mic up here, actually.
Okay. Next thing is race number 9, the Texas Thoroughbred Futurity. This will be for the boys version. Also going. Oh, no, that's the same one. Hold on. Holy
race 10.
Okay,
race 10.
10. So same thing. Boys this time. 5.5. I preferred the 6 in here, but I'm sure you don't agree with me because we never agree on anything.
No, I use the 6. I do think the 6 is a little bit vulnerable. Trainers that fire first time out, I don't see them moving up a whole lot, but and the horse is 2 to 1, but the 6 could definitely win. I've got a weirdo in here that is 30 to 1 morning line.
Is it the 2?
It's the 4.
Oh, okay.
So the 4, my software has really, really strong numbers on, and I like babies that can close up the rail. Watch this one on tape. He kind of had to rush through a hole on the backstretch to avoid getting shuffled, and he did it nicely. And then he ran well through the turn and came up the rail, got a little bit tired late, but these top 2 galloped out way in front of the others. I think he'll have no problem getting the extra panel, and he's 30 to 1. So I think the 4 is
software adjust for surface, because it was sloppy that day.
It does, yeah. It accounts for that. They won't take you from a fast track to a sloppy track, but it is what it is. The numbers are, they did run on dirt. It's not a turf, turf you'd have to adjust by yourself. But it's very, very strong late. They actually make this horse 2 to 1, if you can believe that.
What?
Yep. So I think that's a very strong race.
Must include is the 4 Ghost Cowboy.
At 30 to 1. I don't think the horse is going to be 30 to 1. But yeah, I think he's got a real swing.
Okay.
I also on tape, the 9 was very, very interesting. He broke in, he hit the gate. He was another one where after the bad start, hated the kickback, was dragged out in the middle of the track. Just completely hated it, made this huge middle move and just got a little bit tired after circling the whole field. It was a huge run. There was no doubt that the 9 was best in that race. And he's 12 to 1, and the 8 who won that race, who I'm convinced the 9 was better than, is 3 to 1. So I think that's a strong race as well. I like the 8. And then the 9, I've got nothing bad to say about the 9, or rather the 7. Who's the Asmussen, beat opens handily, gets his guy back on. We'll have no problem with the added ground. So I was 5 deep in here, and I'm going to root against the 6 because I'm chalky earlier. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 for me.
All right, flip the page for the finale. Lone Star Park all still alive, either in the pick 5 or maybe the All Stakes pick 4 if you can't get through the single in the first. This is going to be the Assault, going 1 mile on the turf course. I went pretty chalky in here, but I did think there were a couple of price horses that were interesting enough to look at, like the 11 Men of Kyle, 11 to 1. I also thought the 1 He's a Scooter was intriguing, although I don't know class-wise if he really fits. I just thought he was interesting at 20 to 1.
Yeah, I'm chalky too. I can't find my way around the 2 or the 3.
Yeah.
I feel like the 3 is my top pick. Just based on price, I think they're pretty close to being the same. But I felt like there was a lot of speed signed on here. I felt like the 10 with that outside draw and speed is probably going to try. The 9's got speed. The 7 stretching out has speed. And then the 4 on the stretch out, I'm not really sure what he'll do. He might suck up into a nice trip, but I landed on the 2 most logical closers, the 2 and the 3. And I think if the 3 fires a good one, he could upset the 2. So 3-2 for me.
The 2 is my top pick, but I also liked the 11 Men of Kyle in here. 3 starts back, he won a non-condition allowance race, going the mile. I think the last 2 races, he still ran all right. I mean, obviously it was against easier company, but I just think that he's a little bit better going longer. You see his record going the flat mile, and it's so much better than his sprint races. So I just thought at a price he was worth looking at.
Yeah, my software has him second fastest in the stretch if you go back to that route with the no condition race. So, yeah, he's legit. He's just, the draw, it's the high draw, you're going to have to work out a trip. But, yeah, like I said, I think there's a lot of speed in here, so it could set up nicely for him.
All right. Well, that was a look at the late pick 5 over at Lone Star Park for Saturday. Going to be all stakes action there, at least on the back end of the card. So I want to say thanks to my good buddy Ryan for joining me and doing all the heavy lifting. I mean, race replays, works, trip notes. You get it all, huh?
I'll be here all week. Hopefully we see you down here somewhere soon. What's that?
Are you doing Texas?
No, I won't be doing Texas. I will be playing this, though. I do like this sequence. If I can get past those first 2, I'm gonna hit this one pretty good. I think I'll be pressing it.
All right. Again, thank you so much to Ryan.
Got it.
You can find him on Twitter at B Southstreet. That's Benny Southstreet of TNP.
You got it. Thanks, Michelle.
Just want to remind folks, we're going to be doing a lot of fun promotional events with our friends at the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation this summer. And the first one I want to let you know about, August 11th, the return of Gumbo for the Horses. And this time it's going to be co-hosted by NHC champion, the $1 Million Man, Michael Bachik. Going to be a ton of fun. Still working out all the details on venue and all that good stuff. But August 11th, save the date. Come join us in Saratoga. Lots else going on, too. You want to save August 24th as well for the annual event of the season at Saratoga, or one of them anyway, the TRF BBQ at the barn. Also, we've got a few bottles of our whiskey left. We're going to be doing another mailing of that. The early reviews, very, very positive on our 4-year-old rye finished in apple brandy barrels. So you can check it all out, trfinc.org/players. Please support our founding partners and the great work they do for humans and horses. And also check out Bill Duncliffe's special Can Do podcast, In the Money collaboration, where he tells the story of Quick Call, the equine, and the birth of the aftercare movement in America, largely through the lens of our friends at the TRF. The URL, once again, trfinc.org/players.
All right, and we are now going to head as far away from Lone Star Park as possible, all the way up to Woodbine for this Saturday. I'm joined by Drew Coatney, who is on the show a lot more than I am, so maybe you should be kind of running this. Oh, hold on. Wait, backroom cave? Are you on vacation right now? What is going on?
We are. We're up in our Michigan house right now, so I figured, hey, why not take the backdrop that we have and turn it into a bit of a green screen looking situation. So we've been up here for a week and a half now. So we head home on Sunday. So we're on the last leg. So ready to cash some tickets on Saturday and leave on a good note for the weekend.
I just want to say, PTF, this is bullshit. You're on vacation at the pool. Drew is on vacation at the lake. How come I'm stuck in a cave? I don't understand. I mean, is this like an in the money thing? You get like paid vacation somewhere? Because I thought it was a green screen. No, legit. I thought that you were on a green screen and that is like the fake background that you had. But no, this is real life. So I hate you a little bit. If you lose the pick 4, will you take a video of you running off the dock and jumping into the lake?
We might be able to one up and just do it on the wakeboard and just kind of face plan out there. So we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Okay. Something like that. And we have to tag it and everything. All right. So let's see if you can get through the late pick 4. And now I hope you lose.
I'm sweating
so I can
now.
do something like that.
I'm sweating. All right.
All right, late pick 4 up at Woodbine. We're going to kick it off with a maiden special weight. It is race number 8, 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. That is 2 turns on this turf course. It's the inner turf course. And by the way, the maiden special weight here for $123,000. I thought it was a tough race. I had to go 4 deep my first pass through. I'm going to have to whittle it down, but like my first pass, I'm like 4 horses. I'm going to go 4 horses to kick it off.
Yeah, I went with 2 here. My top choice is the number 7, Giant Waters. Getting the second off the start. I kind of had like one of those maintenance type of trips that you saw, and 2 and 3 back against some pretty good horses in the Woodbine ranks. And it helps to know that like Steven's been a good one. Tio Magico's been a good one. Master Spy. They've all been in those kind of listed stakes ranks, battling it out when the 2-year-old campaign, now 3-year-old. And 4 back, completely blew the first turn, like massively, and still had a huge rally left. And I think we're going to see something similar to that as we get to this event. So the number 7's my top choice, and then I'm going with the logical number 2, Malibu Edge. I think just has the better figures here and could fit a little bit better within these ranks. This seems like a softer bunch, and it's good to note that, especially for the number 2, anyone with tactical speed, in this 2-turn configuration, that first turn comes up mighty quick. It's almost like they get into their gallop and boom, right there it is. So the number 2 may have just the best trip and be a bit forwardly placed. Hopefully Bayan gets them up there and ready to rock and roll. But who are your 4?
I liked the 3, Small Talk on top for Gail Cox. I just thought had some racing recency, had that race at Woodbine going the mile last time out. And I felt like even though it was like a speed and fade type situation, that was off form for what this horse normally brings. So when I was looking at the other horses, looking at the 2 Malibu Edge coming in off the layoff, so I just thought might need one under the belt, and the 7 Giant Waters, who I also liked and used, but just not on top, because this horse has run like seconds and thirds all the time. And even though there's some excuses and there's stakes races, overall, then last time out, when they dropped him down, he should have been able to win, coming out of stakes into maiden races. I understand it was off a break, but it was much easier company. And he still just managed that kind of even third. So to me, he's kind of like a pack mentality horse where he's like, hey, my buddies, I'm going to hang out here. So that was why I just ended up sticking the 3 on top. And then the other horse I thought that I would use was the 4 Jack. Going to be first time going farther because his first 2 races were much shorter. He came off the layoff with an okay effort, didn't break all that great. My concern is the conditioner is Ofer, second off the layoff. But I like the multiple sprints to a route, even though they're separated by a serious panel of time.
Yeah, and don't let that Ofer on the second off get you scared away, because Mitchell's been firing. She's been doing great stuff up there. So I like that. And I might throw that in so that I don't have to do a belly smacker off the dock here.
There we go. 10-1 to hopefully kick off the late pick 4 at Woodbine. Race number 9 going to be the Fury Stakes, $125,000 in the pool to go 7 furlongs on the synthetic. In here, again, I thought this race was kind of tough. Like there's a favorite that you kind of like, but if you go beyond, I had to go 3 other horses.
Yeah, the question is, how much betting money is the number 4 Curlin's Catch going to take? I think if this one stays above 2-1, that's a pretty darn good value for just betting on the win pool itself. And you go, let's just draw a line through the last 2 races trying to tackle the behemoths in the room. And I really like this horse since this one ran at Woodbine, had a terrible on October 31st, a 3-4 wide, trying to make up a move. And here at Woodbine, it's impossible to make those big, wide, sweeping moves, and way too far against the pace flow. And then was able to prove that theory correct down at Tampa on February 6th, turning the tables on Il Macchio. We need Pete here for this Italian pronunciation, but we're going to go with Il Macchio. Yeah. Was able to turn the tables quite easily and handily. So I think Breeze Easy has a pretty good one on their hands, and it has some recency as well as with some of these coming off a bit of a longer layoff. The other one, though, I like at a sneaky price is Astrological. That if I think the number 4 is going to take money, I think then this number is going to get higher, obviously, and it's going to be better value. So it's kind of like I'm and or on this one in the win pools, but we'll be using both in the horizontals. I think just showed like good adversity. It was being pinned down tight and quickened a bit with the pack, and then kind of just Emma Jane Wilson just kind of threw in a non-finish effort, thinking, hey, we're going to save this one for the next time around. And I think it shows great confidence that Cassie's putting her in stakes company without actually a win under her belt. So I think with the Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners horse here, they have potentially a good one sitting on this trip. So I'm with the 4 and the 7 as A's, and I'm trying to get Skinny to grab some value.
I also thought the 7 too, with a great pedigree here. She's a half-2 Woodbine Oaks winner, Dixie Moon, and a plate trial winner, Guy Caballero. And I love a horse with a turn back in distance. That's been one of my favorite angles all year. And this horse debuted at a mile, so then cutting back to 7. So really like that horse as well. I also like the 5 Lorena for Stuart Simon. Back-to-back wins. I mean, this is what you do, right? You come in, you break your maiden, you try an allowance, you go into stakes. I feel like they're being pretty conservative with her. But overall, she hasn't done anything wrong. She's won on the lead. She's won from off the lead. I just think that she's very interesting, and she's beating races with big field. It's not like she's coming out of 4-horse races, right? She's beating 10 and 12 horses at a time. So I just thought that she was definitely playable in here.
Yeah. Yeah, my only issue with that horse, with Lorena, is beating somewhat of kind of in the lower ranks lifers, especially that June workout. But hey, that June race, but screws could be tighter, right? That could be a stepping stone. So I see it potentially.
All right, patching forward to race number 11 or 10. Excuse me, I can't count. I don't know. I'm literally looking at it. It's like it says 10 right there, Michelle, but instead I'm saying 11.
Who's having the beers here?
Well, you're supposed to. That's moonshine. That's what it looks like. You know what the problem is? I'm sober because I'm doing this early in the morning, and I've got to drop off my kids, and I was pressure washing my carpet. So I'm sober. Normally, I do this job so much better when I've had 6 or 7 espresso martinis. All right. So Woodbine, race number 10, maidens going a mile and a 16th on the Tapeta. I thought this race was relatively cut and dry, especially according to your morning line, which has an even money shot in here.
Yeah. We can start with confident, the number 1. That is my second choice.
Run second. Yeah! Fist bump.
I don't have dual monitors out here, so I'm looking at PPs and not you. So I appreciate the verbal cues here. But confident, definitely going to be the morning line favorite. But why try taking a short price on a horse that has yet to run on the synth, going 2 turns? So I am actually going to land on the number 4, Vivid Vixen, at 15-1. Just because you go back and watch the June 19th race, was absolutely destroyed at the start. The second favorite got an easy dream trip up the rail and just didn't even have enough. And they're stretching out to 2 turns this time. And this Vivid Vixen traveled wide the entire trip, couldn't switch leads. I mean, if you want to see what a horse not switching leads looks like down the lane, go watch Vivid Vixen right down the lane. It kind of looks like it's like the jockey just kind of gave up at the 8th pole. It was like, okay, if we're not going to switch, we're not going to win. So let's just sit this one out. And I think was very much against the pace flow. And I love seeing PP lines like this where it's like 10 in 10th place, in 9th place, in 7th place, but actually ran a sneaky good race. So I'm pretty excited about Vivid Vixen. Hopefully we can get a little bit of value too with the trainer being a bit ice cold, but again, getting second off the layoff in some really sharp works, especially the last one out, blowing out a 59. So those are the 2 horses that I am sticking with as A's, but in order, it's number 4 and the number 1 for me.
Well, thanks for completely chucking out Emmeline, because that was the horse that I liked as my pick, and now you just talked me off of her, and now I have to re-handicap this whole scenario. Thanks a lot. By the way, just a side note, I'm damn, Drew is badass. He knows all of this, not even looking at his notes. I'm reading my notes on a track that I follow. And then you tell me, oh yeah, my PPs are on the screen. I thought you were just legit rolling through this Nick Luck style right now.
No way. I'm an amateur among pros.
It just looks like you're Nick Luck. Just don't need any notes.
Oh, amateur among pros, especially in his ranks.
All right, and the finale race at Woodbine, just to keep it spicy at 25, Nominators of 2 Life, 1 mile on the turf course. I thought this race was really tough as well. Maybe they're just tough because I don't follow Woodbine.
No, it's tough.
This is a 4-horse race, right? A 4-horse spread race.
Yeah, I think that's what my notes exactly say. I am going to try and beat number 10 War Empress because the figures aren't really that standout. And there was a stalking trip rail ride, and I downgrade those, especially at Woodbine. Last year, every jockey was allowing kind of that slingshot move, and that just gave any horse along the rail stalking like a highway express to save all the ground and run up the rail. So number 10 did that back early in January. So I'm really downgrading that one. I'm going to just run through my top A's. 4 in the order. Number 5, second off the long layoff with a few sharp works on that tab. Last out was in Way Too Deep of Waters with a very merry-go-round type of pace. No one really made up or gained positions and would expect another forward within this bunch. The number 7, Lower for Longer. That was a
top pick saying nice things.
That was a strange race. Like, it almost looked like the trainer said, hey, just go do some good stuff, but don't do too much stuff. And I think we're going to see a really good horse come out.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, so this horse came back off of the break, right? Yeah. They said, there's no 25 non-2s. We're going to run at 25 non-3, but you'll waste your condition. So don't win the race. Just get a really good race out of it. So they got this good race out of it, and then they come back at the 25 non-2, and then they still have their non-3 condition.
That's exactly what. So okay, so we may be pressing this. That is fantastic insight for anyone listening. Please, like this is like that. I didn't even think about that. That is why it pays to pay attention to the condition books. Oh my gosh, that you are 100% right. So number 7, I think, is going.
That's my top pick in here, by the way.
That's going to be demolishing.
Disclaimer: I do not know Kelly Callahan. I do not know how that conversation went down, or if that was actually legitimate. I just made that up, and that's what I would be saying because I don't want to lose my condition.
Yeah, it looked a little suspect. Like horse had wide open running room on the lead. It was like,
wait a second. This is a non-3.
Yeah. So, and the other 2 that I liked were the number 8 Choose Hope second off, could be near the lead, just needs to find a bit of that back form. And then the number 11, Eleanor Powell, had a bit of a trip last out, facing winners for the first time, and gets the freshener coming back as the 4-year-old. And I love this time of the year where we start to see these horses coming back for the first time and could really project upwards. And so I have a couple trip notes I'll run through. Traveled around the first turn on 11:21. Traveled around the first turn, made an early move from the back of the pack along the backstretch, move around the far turn, and like ran on legitimately well. And then September 13th, made early wind-up move, trying to chase down the loose leader, bumped hard off the turn and finished on terms, giving that one a few extra points. So those little glimmers of hope show that there might be something there. And I think the jet skier in my background proves not a green screen for the day.
So what we're saying, but there was a kayaker earlier, by the way. She was naked. It was awkward, but I felt like we're on it's cable. It's okay. So she had no top on, just sun's bathing while she kayaked on by. This race is obviously like an 8-horse race then, because I think that we used different horses for half of it.
Oh my goodness.
My top pick was the 7, like I said. And then I liked the 9 in here, which I'm pretty sure you skipped right over. Matthias, who was a winner 2 starts back. I thought ran okay last time. And then the 5, Winnie Bay on the class prop there, I did like. And then the 10, who I'm pretty sure you skipped over. Oh, no, well, Asterisk. There we go, the Asterisk horse. So, but I put her in 4th, so I felt like I'm good on the par thing, right? If I had the 2, I put it in 4th. You agree it's not a top pick, so I feel really better about that particular horse, anyways.
Yeah, and maybe we don't fade the 10 because I think this morning line could go any which way of directions and may just take one big better to skew it. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're going to use that horse as the 4th, I think I'm not going to throw that out, and we'll use the 10 as a backup of sorts because I just think this morning line could go any which direction.
Well, this race is a tough one. This is the saltiest race for sure. I mean, anytime you're talking non-2s, because you got maidens that are trying winners for the first time. You got horses dropping in with different conditions. I haven't tried this. You got horses coming off the layoff. I mean, this is a tough race this is the toughest race in my opinion.
Yeah.
My sober opinion. What about your opinion, Drew?
I'm only 1 beer deep at this point, so
I saw how big that cup was, though. It was this big.
It's 12 ounces. What are you talking about?
Oh, it looks so much bigger when it was far away. That tree looks like 12 ounces right now. The kayaker looked a little bigger.
You're making me blush now. So to run through in order again, 5, 7, 8, 11, and I will use defensively the 10 as a backup.
All right. So thank you for joining me on your own show, really, since you're on here more than me, but the In the Money Players podcast. And I'm going to let you go back to vacation. Pete's already on vacation. I'm going to go back to work because that's what I got to do today.
Thank you. Thanks for having and thanks for hosting this week. I can't wait to listen back.
That was so much fun. I hope that we get to do this again.
Yes.
And that's going to do it for this edition of the show. I'd like to thank Michelle Yu, Benny Southstreet, Drew Coatney, Scottie McKeever, producer AJ Wash, pinch hitting for producer Craig. I really appreciate his time and efforts on this week's show as well. Want to guide folks to some other content. If you missed it this week, I did a tribute to my friend Harvey Pack. It's a little audio-only piece. We lost Harvey. I had the pleasure of being friends with him for the last couple of decades of his life. Incredibly important figure in my life. I'd love for you to check out that special audio tribute. And if you're looking for more, go find the Steve Bick show from this week where he did a couple of hours of Harvey tributes. I'm on there. Mitch Levitas is on there. Andy Byer, Stephen Christ, both of whom I had the pleasure of meeting essentially through Harvey all those years ago when I was the guy sitting on the side of the Ciro's stage pointing to Harvey when it was time to talk. So I definitely want you to check that stuff out and think warm thoughts for Harvey's family and him looking down on us now. Just an incredible broadcaster and profound influence on me. So please do check that stuff out. That's going to do it. This show has been a production of In the Money Media. Our business manager is Drew Coatney. Our chief creative officer is Jonathan Kitchen. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatal. May you win all your photos.